Okay, so we were talking about if, elif, else, right? So we were saying that we could have written the same example that we discussed yesterday with three different ifs, right? And what we had was something like this, right? If, elif, and then we had else, right? So now when you run it, both is going to give us same result, right? Okay, there's no change or there's no difference from what you see in the output. But if you look at execution, okay, there is big difference. So if is like beginning of if block, right? So let's see, if you have 50 here, okay, it is going to check this condition, right? I'm talking about first case 1 versus case 2, right? So let's say this is case 1 and this is our case 2. Now, if you look at this here, okay, 50, so you are checking this. Obviously, this is false. So you go and check here. This is also false. You come here and you print positive. So if you see here in situation when, okay, let me write it here, okay. So when number is positive, okay, if number is positive, okay, case 1 actually had 3 conditions to check. We checked here, we checked here, and we checked here, right? And in case 2, how many conditions did we check? So we check here, so this is false. Then we come here, this is also false, and then we come to else, right? So here also we had 3 conditions to check, right? You understand what I'm doing here? Okay. So in case 1, if you implement this way, so both are giving us result, but I'm trying to see the difference between these two ways of implementing. Okay, so if you have a positive number to check, this is taking 3 steps, 3 conditions, 3 checks are happening. Okay, here too we had 3 checks. Okay, first check here, this is false, so then you go to next one, this is false, then you go to else, so finally you print this. So here also you have 3 checks. Now what happens if number is minus 50? Okay, in case of minus 50, that means when it is negative number, right? Case 1, we don't know yet. Let me delete it. And then we'll do the same experiment if it is 0. When 0. Okay. So now when it is negative, this condition is checked. Obviously, this is false, so it comes here. Okay, condition is checked. It prints its negative. Then it comes here and checks this condition. So here also you have 3 checks. Now in this case, okay, we check number is it's 0. No, it is not 0. Then we come here. And then here this condition becomes true. This condition becomes true, so you print its negative and then you come out. That's what we discussed, right? In a if block, and if block, it could be just if, it could be if else, it could be if, elif, else, right? Only one condition will be executed. So if this condition becomes true, of course, our number is negative, so this is going to be true. So once this is true, it prints its negative and comes out. This else will never ever be checked if this is true. Correct? So in this case, our second case actually has just 2 conditions to check for. Now when we have 0 here, case 1, it checks, it prints its 0, then it will check here and it checks here as well. So when it is 0 also, it does 3 checks. But when we go to case 2, okay, number equal to 0, yes, this is true, right? So once this is true, you come out of this block, right? You don't go and check other conditions if you meet with true here. So in this case, you see, our number of conditions that is checked is just 1. So if you look at best case and worst case for case 1, it is 3 conditions. in the best case also and worst case also. So there you can't really differentiate between best case and worst case. Here, worst case is 3, which is equal to this, but we have best case, which is much more efficient than this, right? So in terms of efficiency, we measure program's efficiency by 2 parameters. One is called time complexity, how much time it takes to execute the program. Faster, the better, right? And next, a second parameter based on which we measure efficiency of a program is called space complexity. Space complexity means it should take less amount of space in memory, right? So if you have a program which is, say, 20 KB versus 50 KB, if they do the same job, we prefer 20 KB program. Now, today's laptop comes in TBs and you have GBs of RAM, but still if you talk about IoT kind of applications, right, you still try to program in a small chip. You don't have luxury of space there, right? So space complexity and time complexity, these are the 2 parameters based on which we measure the efficiency of a program. Okay. So in this case, okay, probably space they would take same, okay, but time, if you see, in best case, this is going to be much faster. Second case is going to be much faster. Okay, I'll pause for here for a few seconds. Did I make sense here? Did you understand this?
I understand the if. I just had one question. So I know, like, so if it's if it checks all 3 conditions, but in if, else, and elif, it only checks, it stops at the first condition that becomes true.
Correct.
Then why is,
Exactly.
but why is that? Is that just the way Python was written? Why does it do that?
Right. Now, again, so I'll give you this one bad example and then we'll try to look at this. Now, let's say you lost your pen, you're searching for a pen, right? You found your pen on the table. Will you not stop searching for your pen, or will you still keep searching for pen? You stop there, right? Because you
stop. Right.
Right, you found it, so you stopped, right?
Gotcha.
So that's what we are doing here. Okay, it's like I'm looking for condition, like I'm checking for 0. I found it, so you stop here. So this is like one single house, like one single family, like one single person, like one single item. That's how you can treat it. This is together one current, like one single body. These are 3 different pieces. Okay, if is the beginning of condition, right? So if you see if here, that means it's a separate thing. All these are separate. So it's like 3 people searching for pen, right? So
Gotcha. Okay.
right, so one will find it, but let's say you, your son, and your second a child, all 3 of us searching, right? And you found it and you kept quiet, you didn't tell them that you found it. They're still searching. Bad example, but just to try, just tell you that that's the advantage of using a block. Block is like a single piece of code. So if one finds the answer, other knows that yes, the if has found it, so I don't have to work and I don't have to work. But here, if they're all different, so there's no communication between these ifs. So that's why we try to implement like this. This is the better way of implementing than this. In output, absolutely no change. It's exactly the same output. Okay. But in terms of efficiency, yeah.
Same output, but case 2 is a lot faster because once it finds what it's looking for, it stops. The first
Exactly.
one has to go through all of the lines in order to find this answer.
Exactly. Because it's a formality. They have to do it. There's no communication between them. Right? Okay. So, so that's why we prefer if, elif, and else. Now let's take one more example here. Okay. We'll talk about school kind of situation. Okay. Where the students have appeared for exam and they have got marks. Let's say you have 5 subject. I'm going to say subject, something like marks in subject 1, let's say, or paper or 1. So let's say you get 88 out of 100. Now you get subject 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 4 different subjects that are getting taught to the students, and you get different marks. Okay, let's take it same for now, and then we'll come back and we'll change it. Now you calculate total. Total would be marks in subject 1 plus marks in subject 2 plus marks in subject 3 plus marks in subject 4 plus marks in subject 5. Okay, great. And how do you find average? Average is your total by 5 divided by 5. Okay, so you got average. Now let's say the students are assigned grade based on the average that they scored. Okay, and there's a fixed grading. Let's say we don't have, like in terms of percentage of people that have scored, but let's say that in this case we have fixed grading system. That means if your average is more than 85, you get A. If your average is more than 75, let's say, or 70, let's say, that means between 70 to 85, you get grade B. Okay, if you have average greater than 60, you get grade C. You have average greater than 50, you get grade D. And let's say for less than 50, okay, you get grade E. Or let's make it even more, little more complex. I'm going to say greater than 40, you get E, and average less than 40 is failed grade F. Okay, now in this case, okay, we have 6 conditions to check for. Okay, so when you start building it, you know that you have to have 6 conditions. So first will be if, last will be else, and in between we'll have 4 elifs. That's what we can clearly see from this data, right? That I need to write 6 conditions in a block. First is obviously if, last is obviously else, and in between I need to have 4 elifs. Okay, that's one. Now, so this is a simple one, right? You're just printing one line, print grade A or B or C. You might have to do complex operations for each of these conditions. So we can't, parallelly work with all the 6 conditions. So generally what we do is, okay, first we build the structure. Okay, so maybe here, if average greater than equal to 85, colon, and I'll say pass, because I have to write multiple statements. So first, I'm not focusing on the logic that I want to put here. First, I'm interested in creating the structure for if else. Okay, so just put pass. Pass means there's nothing to write. That's what it means. Okay, there's nothing to write here. Now I'm going to write the next condition. If AVG greater than 70, greater than equal to, right? 70, I'm going to say pass. Elif AVG is a placeholder. Pass is just a placeholder. Okay, so when we run the program, it's not going to give any error. So AVG greater than equal to 60, we say pass. Elif AVG greater than equal to 50, I'm going to say pass. Elif AVG greater than equal to 40, I'm going to say pass. Else by default it means it is less than 40, because we have handled everything above 40. What is left is less than 40, obviously. So this becomes else, and I say print you got grade F, something like this. So now when we run this, okay, average, okay, so let's print average here so that we know what kind of number we are dealing with. So I'm going to say print average equal to AVG. So average is 84. So obviously, okay, this would have gone here, right? Not here, because the 84 is less than 85. So this would have gone here, and this portion was executed. Since we have said pass, so it does nothing, comes down here. At the end, I can say, something like thank you, So this thank you is outside if elif else block, right? It is part of main program. So this will anyway get executed. So when you run it, you get thank you, average and thank you, nothing among this because we have not handled all the conditions, right? We have only handled the F1 here. Okay. Now you can go and one by one replace the pass with the logic that you want to build, right? Because we can't build all the 6 logic at the same time. So that's why you put pass, focus on one, get that thing completely done, then focus on second, get that thing done, then move on to next. So now I'll go and say, you got grade A. Now I'm going to replace this pass here and I'm saying grade B, right? I come back here and I say grade C. This is our grade, D. This is our grade E, right? Now when we run it, obviously, 84 will go here, okay, and you got grade B. Okay, now as I said, only one condition will be executed. So if you look at here, this is also true because we got average as 84. So this is obviously false. 84 is not greater than or equal to 85. So this is false, but this is true. This is also true. This is also true. This is also true. 84 is more than 40. 84 is more than 50. 84 is more than 60. 84 is more than 70. But since the first matching criteria, as we discussed earlier, first matching criteria, first true result is what is executed. So you don't even check the rest of the conditions. Okay, so you got grade B. Now, if I go and slightly change it to 88, obviously, the average would be 88 and you get grade A. Now, if we change it to 8 and let's say 8, 56, 56 is here, greater than 50. You get grade D. If I make one more number go off, it is 40, exact 40. So exact 40 is E. And if I take this off, now you get 24, you get F grade, right? So this is how, this particular output will be printed or will be displayed to us based on the average that gets calculated. Any questions so far on this? Dior, are you getting it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Ray, it's fine?
Yeah, I got it. No questions on conditions on that part of it. I got it. It begins in if, ends in else, elif's in between.
Exactly. Okay. The next part within condition is called as nested condition. Nested condition means condition within a condition. Okay, so now I'm going to add one more level of complexity to it. So let's say for those who have got more than 90, if average is more than 90, okay, there is a special award. Okay, so they win special award. Okay, so if it is more than 85, anyway they're getting grade A, but not everybody with 85 is getting the special award. But those with more than 90, they're getting special award. So I'm going to say average more than 90, special award. Now, for this, I can have one more condition down there, right? I can put one more condition down here saying that if average greater than 90, you win special award, something like this. I can do that, right? But again, it's the same thing, right? If we have already checked, okay, that this value is more than 85. So instead of creating another block, we can put it here itself. Okay, here itself. If average is greater than equal to 90, say print, you win special award, something like this. Okay, let me delete it first and then we'll talk about that. So what am I doing here? Okay, now this piece of the code, okay, assuming that this is not there also, between this if and this elif will be called only if this is true, correct? So if average is greater than 85 only, you get inside 42, 43, 44. Now I have one more condition to check, okay, checking for 90. I could have done a new block, right? But what I'm doing is I'm trying to reduce the number of checks. So what happens if anyway you're checking for 85, and let's say if marks is something less than 85, then you're not getting inside this. If your marks is less than 85, obviously it can't be more than 90. So you are avoiding a check if marks is less than 85. Of course, if marks is more than 85, you have to check, right? So you are trying to avoid the condition, the checks basically, right? So if yeah.
So on this one, so when you say nested, the if is a condition within the first condition,
Correct.
and if it decides the first condition to be true, it then checks the condition within itself.
Correct.
If it doesn't, it then goes down to the next line for elif.
Exactly.
But if it's false, there's no need to check it, and just it wastes more time checking through all of that when not needed.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So if this is false, none of this will be called anyways. Right. So there's no need to check for special award. Now, couple of things which I think is clear, but still want to repeat is we spoke about indentation, isn't it? So this if is inside this, right? And this if block is again inside this. Now I like to compare this with Word document. Okay, I'll just share my Word document. I like to compare with that, and I'll tell you what I mean. So we generally have our say header something like this. Now you have second header something like this, third, let's say, fourth. Now if I have to put something under this, what I'll do, I will say sub 1, right? Sub 2, sub 3. Now if I start writing like this, what does it mean? It means all of these are equally important, or they're at same level. It means they're at same level, right? So what I can do is I can give them a bullet point. Okay, so I'm giving an indentation here, you see. So what does it mean? It means that sub 1, sub 2, sub 3 is inside header. They have nothing to do with second header, right? If I have to put something under this, if I write something like this, it means sub and R1 are at same level. But if I have to move this inside, I'll give one more tab. Isn't it? It means R1 belongs to sub 1 and sub 1 belongs to headers. Okay, so you're moving inside. R1 has no relation with sub 2 here. That's what it means, isn't it? R1 has no relation with sub 3. Okay, R1 is related to sub 1 only, and sub 1 is related to headers only. Headers and second header, they are same level. Okay, same concept is applied here when we do our program. Okay, let's share the program. You see, this if is inside this if. That means this if will be checked if this is true. But this print is inside this if. That means if this is not true, this will not be printed. Make sense? Okay, and you can have one more condition here. Let's say if average is more than 90, if AVG greater than equal to 95, you get a scholarship, let's say. Right? So you can have any number of conditions within a condition. So this is your first level, second level, third level, you can have fourth, fifth, sixth. If this is false, none of these will be called, right? If this is false, then if this is true, and if this is false, obviously this will not be called. Okay, for this to be executed, to be checked even, forget about being right or being true or false. For it to be even checked, this and this, both conditions have to be true. Only then this will be even checked. Otherwise, this will not be even touched. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Right. Okay, dear, you can also stop me when you have any questions to ask me, right? Okay. So this is what generally we cover under nested conditions. Okay. Okay, before we move to next topic, which is loops, I want to talk about input or getting or reading value from the user. See, here we give fixed values, right? 8, 88, whatever. And when you run it 100 times also, you'll get same set of values. But now I want to read it from the user. So which function do we use to read from the user? Do you know that?
No, to read from the user? No, I don't know.
Okay. So we have something called as input. Now, input is a function just like print. Print is to display onto the screen. Input is to read from the user. Okay. So now when you run the program in PyCharm, you see exit code 0. Exit code 0 here indicate that your program has run successfully without any problem. Okay. If you see anything other than 0, especially it will be 1 or -1, it means that something is wrong. Okay, either your program has has some errors, or it is not gone as per expectation. Something abrupt has happened. So when you see 0 here, you should be happy, okay, indicating that okay, everything has gone normal. And if it is not 0, then you have to go and see, and there's no way, okay, you have to go through the output, okay, compare the output where what and what where and what could have gone wrong, and we'll talk about it when we get errors. We will try to fix it. We'll talk about debugging later. Okay, so here as I said, okay, when you see this 0, that means you should be comfortably happy, right? Now let's run this again. I have changed this 8 or whatever number was here to input. Now input is to take the number. Okay, see, the program is not moving ahead. Program is waiting. It is waiting because we have said input. Input means that you want to read the value from the user. Okay, so it is waiting for us to give a value. Okay, or give an input, basically not a value, but give any input. So let me enter 78 and hit enter. Okay, so what it says is can only concatenate string, not integer to string. What has happened is in Python, the variables will take the type form, data type, right? The data type of variable is defined based on the value that we add, correct? So that means if I'm saying this variable is equal to 8, so what is the data type of this variable? What is the data type of this variable?
Integer.
Integer, exactly. Okay, because we're assigning integer value. Now, if I make it 8.0, it becomes float, right? Because we're assigning a float value to it. Now, when we assign input to it, what happens? Computer may not know what you're trying to enter. Now, we entered 78 fine, but 78 could be in string also, right? Anything you put in quotation becomes a string. So how does Python know that you want to give integer or a string in this case? So what happens, since Python will not be able to guess what you're providing, what it assumes is the input always takes string, because any value you write and you put quotation around it, it becomes a string, isn't it? So input by default will take the input values as string. Even if you enter number, even if you enter complex values, even if you enter Boolean or float, it will treat it as string only. So when we entered 78, 78 is read as string, and that's why it says that you cannot add string to a number. Okay, now two string can be added, resulting in concatenation form. So if I say hello plus there, it'll give us hello there. But okay, so now if you have 3 plus 5, it'll give us 3 plus 5, 8. But you cannot say hello plus 5 integer, right? That is not accepted. String and integer cannot be added. You can add string and string, result in concatenation. You can add two integers, resulting in the total value, but you cannot, okay, add string to an integer. And this is what is happening. When we say input, it is taken as string, and it's saying that you can only concatenate, you can't add to an integer. So we have to convert input into integer format. So it's called conversion, type conversion. Type conversion means converting from one data type to another. Okay, converting one data type to another. Okay, so it could be string, then you can convert a string to integer or Boolean to float. Now, again, yesterday we saw those classes, right? String is representing the string class. So if you want to convert something to string, if you want to convert anything to string, you will say string and then bracket open and close. That means you will call string function. String function will convert input value into string data type. Integer function will convert your input value to integer data type. Similarly, you have float. Okay, same class name, function with the same class name, complex, bool. Okay, bool will convert the input value into Boolean format, true or false format. So in this case, I want this input value to be converted to integer format, right? We are reading number. So we need to convert into integer format. So this input is going to take the value from the user, and I will say int of this. Now, you can do it in two steps also. You can read this value, and then in the next step, you say marks in subject 1 equal to marks int of marks in subject 1. So the variable here, marks in subject 1, is of type string. So if you say print type here, type of marks in subject 1, this will give a string. Here, this is string. Now that we have converted into integer, this will become integer data type. Okay, since we are trying to read numbers, we need to convert into integer format. Okay, great. Or instead of writing in two different lines, okay, you can directly say here int of. Okay, int of input. Now we have two functions here. Int is one function, outer function, and input is inner function. You can have any number of functions. Okay, so one function inside it, you can call another function. Inside to that, you can call another, and then you can have one more inside it. You can have multiple layers, function inside function. If you have multiple function, one inside another, the innermost function is called first. Okay, then the next outer, next outer, next outer. Finally, the outermost function will be called. So here we have luckily two functions only. So input is the innermost. First input will be called, and it will get the value from the user. And whatever value you get from the user, you convert into integer. And that's how marks in subject will become integer. So if I run it, okay, and here it's waiting for us to enter the value, I say 78. Now you see, it has performed all the operations as per our expectation. So this is how you can read input from the user. But again, one more thing that we'll see here is, now here it's waiting, right? So first, it's sometimes, you can get confused why the program is not proceeding ahead. How do you know that? See, we have written the program, so we know that, okay, user has to input the value. But somebody who has not written the program will get confused. Why the program is not moving? What am I supposed to do? It's okay. I have to give it's waiting for me to give an input. Okay. But what kind of input should I give? Should I give my name, my phone number, my email ID? What should I give? Okay. So that's why it's always important to give a message inside input. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a message inside input. I'm going to say here something like enter marks in subject 1. Now when you run, see, this text is helpful. Enter marks in subject 1. Then you know that, okay, I need to enter marks here. I need to enter the marks that I've obtained in subject 1. Then you say 99. And, you get, you can do it for all these variables as well. Okay. I'll pause for a few seconds. Let me know if it's okay. Here, you get it?
Okay.
Awesome. So Ray, I hope you also got it, right?
Yeah, that was me who said okay.
Oh, okay. So, okay. So maybe dear is talking on mute, maybe. Okay. So, okay. But as I said, right, please practice. Okay. I'm going to share this anyways, right? So you have, this time you have over the whole weekend. I'm sure, you must have some plans for tomorrow, but definitely try to practice on Monday. And you can ask me again, right? You can ask me, but don't delay it, okay, based on my experience, because every day we're going to learn something new. So if you don't practice now, if you say, okay, I'll practice later over the weekend, and you'll have a lot more things by then on your plate to practice. So,
Let me ask you a question. Is
Yeah.
there like a website or something where you can practice these activities? You got different activities like these?
Okay, so I think I've shared, okay, there are multiple websites, if you start searching for, but what I tend to do is I will give you, when I upload it, I give you a link, isn't it? So let me share this with you. So what I've done, I've created a page where I'm going to upload whatever we do, okay? So I'm going to just show that. I've already sent you in the WhatsApp chat, right?
I got those yet for yesterday.
Yes. So after the session, I'm going to update here. Okay. So here you see, this is what we did yesterday, right?
Right.
And then you have the video link here as well. Similarly, I'm going to, after the session, I'll add all these things here. Okay. And so that you have all the content, and whenever you want to refer, you can refer exactly all this. Apart from that, I'm going to give you some assignments also to work on. So yesterday was just beginning, I didn't have enough, but today I'm going to give you some assignments. Okay, now it is also on the same side. If you go to, I'm going to share the link here. It is. I think this is the one. Okay. No. Wait. I think this is the one. Yeah. So here you see there's some so these are assignment. Okay. So this is and there's no solution for it. Generally, I don't provide solution for assignment. You try it and you come back to me saying that I'm not able to proceed ahead. How do I solve it? So I'll take your approach and I'm going to suggest you changes in your approach itself. Okay. So obviously what we are doing, I'm going to upload it so you can practice as it is. And these are questions. I'm going to share this link as well. So you can practice more, or you can look at these assignment problems. So if you scroll down, yeah, you see these are the assignment problems for conditions. Okay.
Right.
And these are some problems with string. So you have solved ones and then you have unsolved ones. Okay, and practice unsolved ones, and unsolved ones are supposed to be practice, and if you don't get it, we'll do in the class. Okay, but I will not do it. I'll make you do it in the class. Okay, it's fun actually. It's fun. So I can share this link with you in the chat. Okay, so 1 second. Yeah, I've just posted it in the group. Okay. So you can practice exactly same problems that we did in the class. You can practice some more problems. Those were the problems which I did with somebody else in the class. Doesn't matter. And then you have assignments links there. So you can practice assignment as well there. Awesome. Okay, so today so far we did conditions, nested conditions. We did input, right? And input, while talking about input, we discussed about string, integer, Boolean, complex, float, functions also. But we saw only integer into action. Okay, we'll take other things also. We'll see in action as we go along. Okay. So I'm going to move them to different location just to save it. And next we'll move to new topic. Shall we move ahead? Shall we move to new topic? Or you have any more confusion, questions? We can do more examples if you want to.
I think I got it. I don't know about Dior, but I got it.
Dior, comfortable?
I'm fine.
Great, great. And I just said, right, you can stop me anytime. Okay, you can ask me in the next session as well. So don't worry about it. But I want you to practice, okay? I always say that programming is like mathematics. When you see the solved examples in the book, you'll understand it. But when you start solving, that's when you get stuck. Oh, what should I do next? Right? So do practice. 1 hour we are doing here. 1 hour you practice on your own, and we should be good. We should be good. Okay? Great. So next topic is called loops. Okay? Or repetition. We repeat same thing. Now, if you want to print hello, right? So you say print hello. Now I say print hello 5 times. So you copy this and you say 5 times. But is there a way to just write once and repeat 5 times? Yes. Okay. We have a different, or we have a mechanism to perform a block of, a logic 5 times, or, more than once. We use loops, okay? And Python has 2 types of loops. So loops is to repeat same thing multiple times, right? If you want to repeat same sentence, same logic, you can do that multiple times. And we have 2 ways of doing it. One is called for loop, another is called while loop. Okay, so what's the difference between these two? For loop is used when you know how many times you need to repeat. So I tell you, repeat 5 times. So when you know exactly, okay, 5 times I have to repeat, okay, we use for loop. While loop, okay, is used when you don't know exactly how many times, but you know the condition, okay, when to stop. Okay, so let me give you an example, which is non-programming example, then we'll come back to program. So let's say, okay, I want to come home. I want to come to your home. I call you saying that I'm at so-and-so location. How do I come home? So you can give me direction in 2 ways. One, you can tell me, okay, keep coming straight for exactly 1.5 miles, you will see my home. So you know exactly where I am, and from that point to your home, you know it's exactly 1.5 miles. So telling me keep coming in the direction for 1.5 miles, you'll see my home, right? So this is example of for loop where you know exactly how many times, okay, exactly how many miles you will get your destination. Okay, the problem here is if it is 1.4 or 1.6, then I'll not able to find it. If it is 1.4, I will cross your home. If it is 1.6, I'm still not reached, but I'll look around, I'll not see your home, and I'll probably come back, right? So here you need to know exactly how many miles, or in loop, you know exactly how many times you need to run the loop. Okay, and we'll see some examples for loop today itself. While, okay, so here I'll give you this example. You'll say that, okay, second way that you will convey me your direction is that keep coming in that direction till you see a red building. Okay, now here you're saying till you see a red building. You don't know how far I am. Okay, you don't know whether it's half mile or 5 miles, you don't know. You're telling me keep coming in the direction still, or when you see a red building, you stop there. Okay, so what I do, I move a little bit ahead and look. When you say red building on the left, so I look on my left. Okay, I don't see a red building. Again, I'll take a step. I look left, no. Again, I take a step, look left, no. Take a step, look left, no. I take a step, I see the red building. So I stop there, right? So here you don't know. You might reach your destination within 1 step, or you might take 100 steps to reach, or maybe 500 steps to reach, right? But here condition is important. Now let's say if there is no building with red color, if your house color is blue and you told me red, so what will happen? I'll keep walking forever, right? So that's called infinite loop. When you don't give the condition properly, you run into what is called an infinite loop. You don't ever stop, you keep going. Okay, so that is the problem that you encounter when you give wrong condition in while. Problem in for loop is that if you don't get the exact condition, you will not get your output. You will not get expected outcome. Okay, so as I said, when you know exactly how many times to repeat, you need to use for loop. That's easier way to do that. Now, again, see, you can implement the situation condition also using for, and when you know exactly how many times you need to run, that also using while, but that's not recommended. Okay, we would not recommend it. The easiest and this efficient way is use loop, for loop, when you know how many times to run, and when you don't know how many times to run, then don't use for loop, but use while loop, okay, which is based on condition. Okay, so that as long as condition is true, you will run it, and when condition becomes false, you will stop moving. Okay, so let's see the implementation. Okay, and it will give you better understanding. So okay, I'm going to generate numbers from 1 to 10, or rather generate, okay, we'll see the same example that we discussed earlier, right? Print hello 5 times. Okay, let's see how we can do that. Okay, using both for and while. Okay, and then we'll focus on for only. So what is for? For, as I said, is to know how, when you know exactly how many times you need to run. So when you say how many times, 5 times, there has to be something that will keep track of the counter, that will keep track of your counting, isn't it? So how do you know you have reached 5 times, right? If you say come, keep moving for 2 miles, you need something which will count your movement, right? How do you know it's 2 miles? Okay. Okay. So let's look at how it is written and how it is implemented. So for loop always starts with for, and FOR should be in all small lowercase. Okay. Most of the command, okay, 90% of the commands are lowercase. There are some commands which are uses uppercase. We'll talk about it later. But most of the commands in Python are all lowercase. So you say for, okay, since it's a for loop, it begins with for. If began with if, right? So for will begin with for, followed by a counter, a variable. Okay, I'm saying any variable that will count. Okay, you'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done, stop, right? That kind of thing. So where is the variable that is going to count for us? Now it has to count, but the counter has to begin from 1 and stop at 5, isn't it? So there are multiple ways to do it. Okay, we will learn them slowly, one by one. But the most common and the first thing that we learn is using function called as range. So this is another function that we are learning. So we have seen print, we have seen input, we have seen int of, right, converting values into integer type. Now we are calling range. Range is a function that generates range of values. That's why it's called range. It generates range of values. Okay, we'll talk about range, but before that, we need to have an operator, okay, which will tell variable or variable that we have here to read value from range. So we have something called as in. In is an operator, just like plus, minus, into, division. In is an operator. In is called as membership operator. Okay, it will give you the value from right side to left side. So you'll have in here. On the right side, you will have right side of in, you will have range of values. Okay, and left side you'll have a variable. So in will take the value from right side and give it to var. Take the value from right side and give it to var. Take value from right side and give it to var. Okay, so we now know what is for, we know what is var, and we know what is in. Any question on these three things? So for here is not just one single command. For uses multiple things to create that final version. So for it has to begin with for keyword, followed by a variable which will do the counting for us, then an operator in, okay, which will take the value from right side and assign it to left side, And then we'll go to right side to see how to generate the series of values or range of values. So these three things clear why we are using?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, so this is fine. Now talking about range. So we'll talk about range and then we'll come back to our example. So range is a function that can take three values, A, B, and C. So when you give range with three values, okay, what are these values stand for? A stands for starting value. A stands for starting value. B stands for ending value. And C stands for increment. Okay, now start is always inclusive. End is exclusive, not included. So it's like not included up to, right? And increment is increment, okay? So now if I take a range with example, 2, 8, and 3. So what does that mean? It means I have to start from 2, okay? Go up to 8. Go up to 8. Up to, not including, right? Ending is not including, up to. So start from 2, go up to 8, and increment by 3. Every time you go, increment by 3. Every time you move ahead, increment by 3. So range 283 will give us value like first value that will give us is 2. Range will give us value 2, first value. The second value is going to be, because start is 2, so it will always start from the start value 2. Next value is going to be, increment is 3. So what would be the next value?
5.
Correct. 2 plus 3, 5. And the next value?
8.
Okay. No, not 8. Why? Because ending value is 8 and ending value is not including. Okay.
Okay.
So it will not print 8. It will just print 2 and 5. So range will print 2 and 5. And when you say var in range 283, var will get first 2, then we'll get 5. And it'll stop. Yes, if I do 9 here, then it will be 258. Correct? It will be 258 because 8 is less than 9, and obviously next value 11 will not be part of it. Okay, because 11 is obviously more than 9. But if I say 8, okay, then you won't get 8 here. It is always, ending is always up to. Okay. Now, second case could be where range has just 2 values. When you have 2 values, it means obviously A is start, okay, B is your end, and you have default increment. Default increment equal to 1. So we are not talking about increment. When you say A, B, we are not talking about increment. Increment by default is 1. Okay. So now in this case, if I say range 2, 5, so what kind of values will I get?
3, 4.
2, right? You start with 2. 2 is always included, right? So 2,
2, 3,
3,
4.
correct. 2, 3, 4. Okay, not 5 because obviously it should be less than 5. Okay. Now you can have range with just one value as well. If you have one value, it is B. That means default start is 0. In Python, counting starts from 0. Okay, first number in Python is 0. We don't start from 1. 1 becomes second member, second number, second member. So default start is 0. And of course is B, and default increment of 1. So now if I say range 5, what will I get?
It's going to start with 0.
Exactly.
And
Right? So you get
yep.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly. Yes. So you can use range with 3 values where you're giving start and an increment. You can use range with just 2 values where you have only start and end, no increment. By default, increment is 1. Range with 1 value where your default start is 0 and increment is 1. So range 5 will generate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, coming to our example here, we want to print hello 5 times. So you say range 5. Okay. When you say range 5, so range is going to generate value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So var in the first iteration, var will take 0. Second iteration takes 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. How many times this loop will run? 5 times. So you can print here I value. I'm going to say value of var is var, and I can say print hello, let's say. Now when you run it, you see value of var is 0, correct? Then it prints hello. Value of var is 1, print hello, 2, hello, 3, hello, 4, hello. So it starts from here, var takes 0, goes in, prints these two statements. That's the last statement. So comes back. Because we are not done with the values yet. Then it takes 1 from range, then prints these two statements, comes back. Take 2 from range, prints these two statements, comes back to the start here. Then 3, so on, goes back, 4, so on, right? After 4, okay, we are done. There's no value here in range, right? Because 4 is the last value. So you break from for loop and you come to the main program. Something like this. So you stop here. Is it clear? Excuse me. So if you don't want to print this, if you just want to print hello, comment this part and you get hello 5 times. Okay. There are some hellos before that. We don't care about it. I'm going to just put a print statement here indicating for loop, something like this. So now when you run it, so this is the for loop right here. And all these hellos are being printed by for loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I have printed hello 5 times. If you want to print hello 100 times, simple. Just go and change this to 100. And you get 100 times. We can trust computer. Okay, this is 100 times. That's printed. Okay, we'll change it back to 5. So this is how you use for. So for is not just one, it uses multiple things into it. So you have first for condition, which will force the next variable to take the value one by one. Okay, in one iteration, it takes only one value. So in will say, okay, you have value, range will generate 0 to 4, right? When I say range 5, it generates 0 to 4. So 0 to 4 values are available to you to take. But for will say no, where you're going to take only one value at a time. So take one, iterate through it, then take another, iterate through it. Okay, so you take one step and then say count 1. Take another step, say count 2. Take one more step and then say count 3, so on. Right? So for will make sure that var takes one value each time that it executes the loop. Right? That's what I said. If you do not give this range correctly, if I give 8, so you're not getting a desired outcome. I want 5 times print, I want to print hello 5 times. Since I gave 8 here, it's printing 8 times, right? Not what I wanted. If I give, say, if you give 4 or 3, right, it'll print only 3 times. Not what I want. You need to give exact number of value here so that it meets the business problem or the expectation or the required output. So this is how you use for loop to repeat a block of code. Can I take 5 minutes more time? I'll do, I'll do same example using while, and then we can wrap up for the day. Okay, 5 more minutes
No
I
problem.
need. Okay, great. Okay, so now I'm going to say using print, I'm going to say not comment, I'll just print. Okay, using while. Okay, now to use while, okay, I said, right, while will always look for a condition, right? So you have while followed by a condition. And as long as this condition is true, it will go inside the loop. The moment this condition becomes false, the loop will stop. Okay, so I'm going to define a counter. Okay? Just like what we had var there, I'm going to say while counter is less than equal to 5. Okay, that means I'm defining a value counter because I need to I need to check this condition. First, it has to be true to get inside, and then it has to become false when you're done with 5 times printing. Okay, so one logic I can think of is using a variable counter and checking if the variable is less than equal to 5 or not. If it is equal to less than equal to 5, you go and you say print hello, right? But of course, what happened? Counter is not defined. I'm going to define counter outside the loop before loop starts. So now you see, I have set counter equal to 0. Counter is 0. And counter, I'm saying, is it less than equal to 5? So see, counter, this variable is outside loop, correct? This is outside loop. So, so this is not going to get, this is not going to get impacted by the loop here. So counter is 0. Now, is this condition true or false here? Is this condition true or false?
Listen, true.
Yes, because counter is 0 and 0 is obviously less than 5. So this is true. True means you get inside, correct? And you print hello. Okay, and counter starts, so loop starts from here itself. Okay, after hello, because there's no more statement here, it goes back to while. So is it still true? Yes. Comes back, prints hello. Goes back again, 0 is less than 5. So what happens? Counter is 0 and 0 is always less than 5. So you have reached what is called as infinite loop, right? So if you see, hello goes on forever. Hello is printing forever. This is what I said. If you do not give condition properly, this is what happens. You get into infinite loop. So you said that till you see counter becoming 5, but counter 5 never happens, and you keep working forever, right? Your building color is not red. I'm looking for red and I do not find red building, so I'm working forever. So what we do here, what mistake we made here is that we need to increase the counter value, right? So I'm going to say counter equal to counter plus 1. Okay, now let's see. I said counter equal to counter plus 1. So counter is 0. Okay, line number 22. It goes here, counter less than equal to 5. Yes, 0 is less than equal to 5. True. Get in. Now counter equal to counter plus 1. So counter becomes 1. Counter is 1. It prints hello. Goes back up. Counter 1 is less than equal to 5. Yes, 1 is less than equal to 5. So comes in. Counter becomes 2 now. It prints hello for second time. Goes up. 2 is less than 5. True. Goes in. Counter is 3 now. And it prints hello for the third time. Goes up. 3 less than 5. Yes. Goes in. Counter becomes 4 now. and hello is printed 4th time and goes up. 4 is less than 5? Yes, 4 is less than 5. Comes in, counter becomes 5, it prints hello, goes up. Is 5 less than equal to 5? Yes, 5 is less than equal to 5, correct? Goes inside, counter becomes 6, hello is printed 6th time and goes up. Now 6 is not less than 5, it stops and comes to thank you. So in this case, our hello is printed 6 times. I told you how. So you see, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means we shouldn't say equal to here. We just say less than. Now, when counter becomes 5 and prints hello for 5th time, 5 is not less than 5. That's when this condition becomes false and you break from here and go to line 26. Right? Now, when you run it, you get hello 5 times. Makes sense? So what I generally, when you approach your program, doing your program, first you need to break the program or your business problem. Okay, let program comes later. Break the requirement into smaller parts which we can implement, and then don't try to get right for the first time. Of course, I'm not saying that type anything, but it's okay if you don't get the program right for the first time. Okay, I did equal to and it didn't work. So you run it, you see, no, it's 6 times. So if it's 6 times, how do I reduce it by 1? Okay, so if I say less than, it will do. Or you say equal to and you make it 1, right? Obviously, you'll have more than one ways to fix your problem. You pick whatever you like and then you run it and you see, oh, this time output is correct. That means you have got the correct outcome, right? So approach is important here, okay? How should you approach solving a problem? So next week when we meet on Monday, we'll take some examples, some simple examples, and we will implement for loop. Okay. So maybe Monday we'll just talk about for loop, multiple examples. How do you approach solving a problem? Okay. Conditions and loops are like your first stage of programming. Any logic, okay, any kind of business problem, you will be able to solve using condition and loops. What we are going to learn after that, after loop, is how to do more efficient way of programming. We are going to learn to do more efficient way of programming, whatever we do from now on. From logic perspective, condition and loops are important. Okay, try to practice as many examples as possible. I'm going to give you more examples to practice. This is the core logic. Okay, so no, this is what will set you apart from a non-programmer. Okay, and after this, whatever we do, we'll do collections, functions, classes, and those things are just how to make our life easy, to make easier way of approaching a problem statement. But the core logic is built using conditions and loops. So when we finish loop, it will be our first milestone that we'll be able to achieve. Any
Sounds
questions?
like a plan, I think.
Yes.
Well, I think we got it from there. I'll get some practice over the weekend.
Awesome.
And Monday, be ready with a bunch of questions.
Perfect. I would love to take on the questions. Okay. So have a
Pretty good to go.
Yeah, have a good day and have a great start to your new year. Happy New Year in advance. And come back with a lot of energy on Monday.
Happy New Year and Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to put them on the site and share the link shortly. Yeah. Take care. Good day.
Go ahead. You can go ahead and stop the recording, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about it.